I was actually tagged under this video by this young man right here. His name is DJ D Rex. He said, "Medium man, you are needed." He tagged me in this video. I saw it. I listened to it. And I was like, wait a minute. I was just reviewing this information because it coincides with the BLS income information. And she tried to spin it a little bit way. But like I said, you guys be a judge of character. You let me know if she was approaching this in good faith.
I couldn't help but notice your pain.
My pain?
It runs deep. Share it with me.
But I feel like this can actually be a productive conversation. Now, Mikerowe.
Did you hear that? Let's go back.
But I feel like this can actually be a productive conversation. Now,
you see that? But I feel like this can be a productive conversation. So at first, you're like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, this is going to be pretty good. She's going to have an objective opinion. She's going to be fair on both sides. Yeah, let's keep watching.
Mikerowe, who is an American philanthropist and a TV host, came out and stated that 7 million men who are in their prime are not working right now, okay? This is another man saying that other men who are in their prime years are between 25 and 54, are not working in the United States, okay?
Okay, so remember that number, 7 million.
Okay? And here are some of the statistics that back up what he's saying. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics actually reports that men between the ages of 25 and 54, about 57% of them are not working, citing physical, mental, and behavioral health issues, right?
We already heard 7 million. Now she's saying 57% of men between the ages of 25 and 54 are not working. So she has two contradicting talking points. So first she mentioned 7 million. And then she went straight to 57% of men between the ages of 25 to 54 aren't working. All the men, 57%.
Men between the ages of 25 and 54, about 57% of them are not working, citing physical, mental, and behavioral health issues, right? But there are 30% of men who admitted they're choosing not to work.
30% of men. 30% of men. Remember, listen to what she's saying. Men, like all men. You guys know it's about 340 million people living in the United States. Half of that is men. Okay? So if she's saying 30% of men are not working, that's crazy. So let's continue.
There's nothing wrong with them. They're just choosing not to work, okay? 9% of them say that they're caring for other people. Now, on the flip side, right, the bipartisan policy.
Did you see the little bit of? I learned this from Mona. Shade. Look at her. Look at her face.
9% of them say that they're caring for other people.
You see that look away? You see it? She's slick. She's a good one. Hold on, let's go back.
People.
I love black women, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Hold on, wait.
Caring for other people.
Bombastic side eye, criminal offensive side eye.
Now, on the flip side, right, the Bipartisan Policy Centers survey reports that 52% of men actually would go out and look for work if they got better incentives, right? So we're talking better healthcare coverage, paid time off, better incentives for people with disabilities, things of that nature, right? Now, in the article, Rowe also points out he just feels like there's a shortage of trades. There's a shortage of trade work, which now makes the nation's labor force wildly outbalanced, which is why a lot of the men, they just can't find work because their skill sets does not match or fit in with today's workforce. Now, I'm not gonna lie, not gonna yai.
Here we go. Where you think she gonna go with it? You think she gonna still just read the statistics and be objective? And not put any, up with women, down with men propaganda in here? Let's see.
I do feel like a lot of men have become lazy.
What the fuck, y'all? God damn! God damn! God damn!
What?
Fuck!
There it is. There they go. There they go. Every time.
Oh, there they go. There they go. Every time.
We knew it was coming. When I was listening to the video, I was like, oh, okay, she's trying to be objective. Went off the rails a little bit, made the little side eye deal. And then she's like, I just think men lazy. I was like, oh, here we go. Lord have mercy, young lady. You didn't have to do that. But here we go.
I'm not speaking on all men, but 30% out of 52 that is not working, 30%, that's more than half, literally stated that they're choosing not to look for work. There's nothing wrong with them. They're fully able-bodied, mind-wise, they're capable. They're choosing not to work. So although I take in all of those other problems, all of those other issues, for that 30% right there, what's your excuse? What's your excuse? If the workforce is unbalanced and there's more women, who have money, they have the means, they have the...
You hear that? Uh-oh. See, now we get to it. Yeah.
Men, who have money, they have the means.
Wait, let's go back.
If the workforce is unbalanced and there's more women, who have money, they have the means, they have the... It's...
There it is. So I was actually, when I was listening to this for the first time, I was actually going to leave women out of this and just speak on the men's part. But when she added that, she's comparing women to men, essentially saying that women are doing better than men, and that's why all these men aren't working. So of course I did my due diligence, and we're going to talk about it. But I'm going to let her finish.
Not the women's fault. There's 30% of you men who are in their prime choosing not to go to work.
So she keeps saying 30% of you men, 30% of men, the population of men. She's not separating anything.
Choosing not to work. And then when women say that they are the new men, that women or that men are the new ladies, generally speaking, because again, we're not going to include every single man. You guys, for some reason, don't understand the general part and get offended. All of you get offended. But it's right here in the statistics. 30% of you men who are in your prime are choosing not to work out of the 52% that just are not working. Fix it.
Oh, hey, she just told y'all Dusties to fix it.
The best dust repellent. The best dust repellent is not even dealing with dust. Something that's dusty, you immediately dismiss it. You do not entertain dust for 1 second.
52% of men are not working. That's what she said. 52% of men, over half of the men in the United States population are not working. 52%. So all you dusties in there with your fake jobs, she told y'all to fix it. And yeah, this is nothing against her. You guys know how I roll. So let me show you what they said in the comments. This was hilarious. This woman said, the caring for other people pause/side eye. Please, yeah, see, she caught that too. I caught it. She said, cause how many full-time male caretakers do you know? And this woman said, I have 5 brothers. Only one of them works. None of them want to go to college either. Lord have mercy. You just tell your brothers, tell their business like that? Lord have mercy. This woman said, they're not going to college. They're not working. I need to know what they're doing and if it's working so I can take notes. I want to not work too. They said they're gaming a lot. Y'all better be glad they pushed back GTA 6 because ain't no dude's going to be outside. So y'all lucky, ladies. So you better try and secure your ass a relationship right now because when GTA 6 come out, ain't no dude's going to be outside. Y'all going to be really complaining about these speed dating events not having any men. Sports parlays and aspiring rappers. Lord have mercy. You see where the narrative is going. They're trying to talk about black men. This woman said alt-rights groups. Okay. What was this one? This woman said it's because they can. They can choose to not work and still starve since women will take care of them, be it their mom, grandma, girlfriend, etc. Lord have mercy. They making up their own narratives, goodness. And look, this woman said they want to be SoundCloud rappers and streamers. Meanwhile, they're on those podcasts. Talk about me. On their podcast, Mike's telling us that we're lonely and they're the prize. And then this man said, the men that's on the podcast, Mike's work. That equipment wasn't free. Yeah, you damn right, brother. It damn sure was. Okay, so let's listen to what Mikerowe has to say about this situation, and then we're going to go over the statistics. And I'm going to show you guys how I got these statistics. And this is a valuable lesson for anybody that wants to kind of research certain things. You have to get to the bottom of everything. Pause. Well, that's not a pause. I'll just say pause for the young dudes. Okay, yeah, so you got to get to the bottom, pause, of everything. But this is Mikerowe.
Skilled Labor Day. President Trump's pushing for training for skilled jobs that don't require a college education. We need to bring in Mikerowe. He's the expert here. Is there really a trend of people going towards the trades and away from academic college?
Well, first of all, every day is Skilled Labor Day, or at least it should be.
Right.
Secondly, you can see it in virtually every number, but the numbers are confusing. You know, you've got, at this point, I think it's 7.6 million open jobs. Most of them don't require a 4-year degree. And the feeling, and I was at that energy conference with Governor Perry a couple of weeks ago, and he's so right. This is at the absolute top of mind. Every CEO who was there, talking, whether it's AI or data centers, it all trickles down to skilled labor. Gen Z got the memo in some way, shape, or form. And you can see it. The 4-year degrees are trending down in that cohort, and there's a lot more interest in electricians and plumbers and steam fitters and welders and pipe fitters, and the stuff my foundation has been focused on for 16 years. So yeah.
So you hear that? Them Gen Zers from 1997 to 2012. Y'all stopped going to college and you started to pick up trades. So that goes against what that young woman was saying, but there you have it. So Generation Z, give yourselves a pat on the back for avoiding student loan debt because they start collecting that student loan debt again. There's a lot of people complaining right now.
Need them, as Governor Perry pointed out, when we build these data centers, so massive investment, we need skilled workers.
There's need and there's criticality. Like, we've always needed them, and people understand. You don't want to wait 3, 4, 5 days for an electrician or a plumber. But what the governor's talking about, and people really are likening this to a modern-day Manhattan project. You've got the maritime industrial base trying to hire 140,000 tradespeople right now, 80,000 openings in automotive. You just go down the list. And this is the thing that worries me, too. I'm rooting for the president with the offshoring, the reshoring, the reinvigoration of manufacturing, but we got 482,000 open jobs in manufacturing right now.
Right.
So you create 1.5 million, 2 million new jobs, you've got to come back to workforce.
But you've got 7 million men in their prime who are not working.
Right. So if you really want to peel that back, his name is Nick Eberstadt. He's an economist, and he wrote a book called Men Without Work. He would love to sit here and crunch the data with you, but that to me is one of the greatest.
You guys heard the 7 million number again, right? And they also said 7 million men not working, not in the workforce, not in the labor force. Remember what I said. Let's continue.
Alarm bells going on in the country. We've never seen that before, not in peacetime anyway. So these are able-bodied men in their working ages, not only not working, but not looking. So compare that to the open positions and then just sprinkle on $1.7 trillion of student loans that are still outstanding. And you can see we've still got our thumb on the scale. We're still pushing a lot of kids toward a very expensive path while the skills gap widens. And as I've said to you before, the skills gap is real, but there's a will gap as well. And those two things combined are ugly.
I want to talk.
All right, so let's stop there. Thank you, Mikerowe, for that, and Fox News for putting that report out. So let me ask you guys a question. You guys are very educated. I know this. We talked about this stuff before, very recently, mind you. Is there a difference between unemployment and not working? Not in the labor force refers to individuals who are neither employed nor actively seeking employment. This category includes people who are not working and not looking for work, such as students, retirees, or those primarily focused on childhood. Now, let's say if I didn't work a full-time job and I didn't do YouTube, I'm a retiree. I'm between the ages of 25 to 54. So if I was just, to live off my retirement pension, I wouldn't be in the labor force. So I would be one of the people, one of the 7 million that they're talking about. But I'm doing rather good for myself, even though I wouldn't be working. Does that make sense, guys? So within that 7 million men who are quote unquote not working, as they say, it involves men who are in college. It involves men who are retirees. And then if we talk about women, childhood. Women always talking about wanting to be stay-at-home moms. Congratulations, sister. You in that list too. How they don't know this stuff. And that young lady, she should have did her research on the actual definition. I'm not done. We got a long ways to go to walk this down. I'm gonna use this as an educational moment. Here's a more detailed explanation. Hold on. The definition, the term not in the labor force encompasses individuals aged 16 and over who are not part of the labor force. Key groups. This group typically includes students, full-time homemakers, ladies, retirees, individuals with disabilities. I'm in that again. So I'm double whammy. I'm 100% disabled veteran. So I guess in the Black community, that's a bad thing because I wouldn't be working if I didn't have a job and I didn't do YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that's two things. I guess I'm bringing the numbers down, guys. So, and those who may be working but are not actively seeking additional work. Okay? So you see that bottom there. And those who may be working but are not actively seeking additional work. Okay? Distinction from unemployed, as I stated before. A key difference between not in the labor force and unemployed is that the unemployed are actively seeking work. Unemployed individuals are looking for work but have not found a job yet. So what she was trying to say is that, I don't think she knows that there's a difference between being unemployed and not in the labor force. So yes, you could be unemployed, but you still actively seeking for work, or you could be unemployed and not seeking for work, because there are some people in there that just don't work and they being taken care of some way or another, but that's not the majority. So when you say unemployed and not in the labor force, those are two different things. But she was so quick to shame men that she didn't fully do her research. And that's what's sad about these conversations, because now as an older guy, older Black man who works in the field, I got to go back, look up the statistics, and I got to, hey, young lady, I know that you was trying to be shady towards men, but here's the truth. I'm going to tag her in it once I clip this. Marginally attached workers within the not in the labor force category, there can be marginally attached workers who are not currently employed, but are available for work and have searched for it in the past, but are not currently looking for it. Okay, so there's still people in there that don't have a job, but they're looking. And this goes a little bit further, where it explains who is not in the labor force. People are considered not in the labor force if they are not working and not actively seeking work. Those persons not in the labor force can be thought of as falling into two categories: those who do not want a job and those who do want a job but have not searched for one recently, also known as marginally attached workers. Just like the last slide ended. Those who do not want a job might be students who are not employed or seeking employment, those who stay at home out of choice or necessity, or those who, for a variety of reasons, have no interest in working. So again, there are some people in there that just don't work. Those who want a job include discouraged workers who want a job but have given up on searching, and conditionally interested workers who are available for work but are not looking for work due to some reason other than discouragement. Okay? And I'm gonna actually break it down for you guys. This is what it actually looks like. So before you run out there and be like, not in the labor force, what does that mean? These people are deadbeats. No, So the civilian non-institutional population is split into two categories. You have people who are in the labor force to your left right here, and you have people who are not in the labor force over to the right. So in the labor force, you have unemployed people, and look at that, shocker. In the labor force is unemployed, because those are people that are actively searching for jobs. And then on the unemployed side, you have people who work full-time, part-time, and then they work part-time for economic reasons, like their household dynamics, which is the one that I'm in right now. I work full-time, she works part-time, and voluntary, just so they can get some extra money. On the unemployed side, you have long-term people who have been searching for jobs for a while, and you have not long-term people who have been searching for jobs, who haven't been searching for jobs that long, okay? Just fired. And then over to the not in labor force, you have the marginally attached people, which are people who are discouraged that they can't find a job, or people who are conditionally interested, not really looking, but they're open to it. And then you have a block of people who do not want a job. So yes, within that 7 million that they kept mentioning, there are some men, and then on the women's side, there are some women who just don't work. It is what it is. They may be getting that funny money. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that ain't on the books or something like that. Who knows? Somebody taking care of them, like that woman said. This is funny. I'm going to show you guys what you have to go through to get all of the information that you need to get the numbers that you want to share if you want to, start doing this stuff. So at first, when they mentioned it, Mikerowe warns of troubling trend among working age men, says trades are the answer. Okay, so he wasn't saying that men aren't available for trades or they're not skilled enough. They're just open jobs, and the men are going to get them eventually. So this is where you start. This was published May 7, 2025, which essentially is what the young lady was quoting. Rowe claims over 7 million working age men have left the labor force. Like I said, I'm retired and a disabled veteran, so if I didn't have a job, I would actually fall into this category. Okay, let's continue. So I had to first go to Fox Business. From Fox Business, you scroll down and you'll see this. It says a study from the Center for Immigration Studies supports Rowe's concern. It found that that the share of U.S.-born men ages 16 to 64 not participating in the labor force has nearly doubled over the last 6 decades, from 11.3% in 1960 to 22.1% in 2024. So yes, it has increased over how many years is that? What is that, 64 years? In 64 years, it has increased, okay? But again, remember what the definitions are. Let's continue. So from here, you see they have a hyperlink attached. So you have to click Center for Immigration Studies. You click the hyperlink and it takes you here. Another Fox Business report. Labor force participation among U.S.-born American men has plunged amid soaring immigration analysis. Okay, and this was actually published 2024 December. So from there, I know this is a lot, but you guys getting an education on how to do your research when you see people say foolery on social media. You scroll down and you have this. The Center for Immigration Studies released a study this week showing the share of working age men, pretty much the same thing I told you guys. But again, you have a hyperlink. So you click that hyperlink, a study, and it takes you to this. And I'm getting down to it, man. Center for Immigration Studies, working age but not working, 1960 to 2024. So this is what you will find once you click that hyperlink. And then down there, they have Excel spreadsheets with detailed labor participation statistics. Okay, so you see that's in blue. That's a hyperlink. Okay, and it's based off of national data. Here, if you wanted to get this on your phone and then you go ahead and download it, or you view it, and it'll take you right here, right? The honeypot, where you get all the information. So they break it down by U.S. born, not in the labor force, immigrants not in the labor force, blacks, Hispanics, whites, we get to it, education level, U.S. born men, U.S. born women, immigrant men, immigrant women. You get everything, and you have the separate tabs right here. So once you do that, you will get something like this. And I know you guys like, man, what the hell is all this data? It's simply showing you the U.S. born, not in the labor force, peak years 1960 to 2024 for U.S. born men. So all you have to do, and I know this looks very busy, guys, but I'm showing you how to get, the actual information. She didn't do that. She just went off of the report, but you have to do your research for yourself. I tell both men and women that. So you have right here, what you're looking at is all education levels. And this is the share not in the labor force. So you look right here, and this is for men. The sweet spot that we're talking about are men's prime years, 25 to 54. That's what everybody is discussing. You go over here, it says 11.6% in 2024. You scroll all the way over, and it'll give you an actual number. It says total number of people in the age group, 49 million. 49 million men as a whole, are in that 25 to 54 sweet spot, our prime years. So 11.6% of that. And then also, if you want to do a review on the Bipartisan Policy Center, they have the report as well. It was actually released February 29, 2024, delving into the reasons why some prime age men are out of work. And they, pretty much tell you everything. But this is what this young lady was talking about, okay? Remember, she kept saying it's men that are taking care of people, men not working, physical, mental behavior. This is actually the graph that she was referencing. So look here. Main reason for not being employed. So like I told you guys, we keep throwing around this 7 million number. So this is how it is separated. It's in different. So what you see here, men looking for work is in the blue. Men not looking for work is in red. So 28% are not working by choice. Those are the guys that just don't have jobs. 9% are caring for others. 57%. Remember, she said 50. What'd she say? 57 or 52? Somewhere around there. 57% of men, physical, mental, behavioral health reasons. And then you have 4% difficulty finding work. And then you have 3% other, which could possibly be retirees, which I would probably be in this group or whatever. But the key thing that you have to note, this is the responses from prime age men, which is 25 to 54. So everything adds up. The whole report, they kept mentioning 7 million in men in their prime working years, 25 to 54. This is the same report. Let's continue. So, and it just shows you the figures in regards to what we were just discussing here. Said nearly at 12% overall in 2024. It's actually 11.6%. I showed you guys that. So they just rounded up. That's perfectly fine. Going back to that young lady's video, she said that men are lazy.
I do feel like a lot of men have become lazy.
Did y'all remember this? She said that men are lazy based off of the numbers that she saw. So let's do a comparison. So if men are lazy with their numbers, then of course, women got to be outdoing men in this area of not in the labor force, right? Let's take a look. Number of U.S. born women ages 25 to 54 not in the labor force, April 2024, is 19.7. Number of U.S. born men ages 25 to 54 not in the labor force, 11.6%. Now, if men were lazy at 11.6% and women have 19.7% not in the labor force, what does that make women? Sluggards? What is that? What would we consider women? Since it's okay to call men lazy for being, not in the labor force, but I mean, what name will we give women because their number is higher? Just a thought. Total number of women in that age group is 50.8 million. Total number of men in that age group is 49.8 million men. More women than men. What is 19.7% of 50.8 million? It comes out to 10 million. What is 11.6% of 49 million between the ages of 25 and 54 for men? It is 5.7 million. Okay. The number of US born women, we just discussed that. I got the numbers right here. So you see there's a difference. So the number of US born women ages 25 to 54 in the labor force is 40.8 million. That's 80.3%. The number of US born men ages 25 to 54 in the labor force is 44 million. That's 88.4%. Ladies, are you paying attention? Here we go. Let's do the math here. 10 million minus 5.7 million is 4.2 million women plus. There are 4.2 million more women who are not in the workforce than men. You see how that works? So in her haste to attempt to shame men, she didn't even report the women's number. So I knew she was approaching this in bad faith, of course. So she didn't even juxtapose it against the women's numbers. But of course I did. So we gonna get the whole picture. The reason why the focus is on men is because skilled trades, that's where men mainly work. So Mikerowe's work is centered around skilled trade workers. So that's why he was pointing out the men. He didn't mention women because they don't typically work in those skilled trades. Make sense? So we could have just left it at that and advised men of how many jobs were available. But instead, you decided to take shots at men because you thought it was going to be a mic drop moment. But somebody tagged me, and here we are, educating the masses. Y'all got to stop this, man. Black women, not all y'all, but y'all got to stop trying to paint these narratives because you ain't going to come out good. And just for shits and gigs, you know I did the black community because that will probably be next, right? You know how these things go. We know the game. Number of US born black women ages 25 to 54 not in the labor force, 19.5%. Number of US born black men ages 25 to 54 not in the labor force, 17.6%. Black men's percentage is lower. However, I will give black women some credit. Their 19.5% is actually lower than the average for all women at 19.7%. So that's actually good. Black women, pat yourselves on the back. You actually beat the average for all women. Total number of black women in that age group, 7.4 million. Total number of black men in the age group, 6.4 million. What is 19.5% of 7.4 million? 1.4 million for black women. 17.6% of 6.4 million is 1.1 million. So that means that there's more black women who are not in the labor force by shared numbers than black men. All right, so here's the breakdown. 1.4 million minus 1.1 million. That's a difference of 317,000 black women. So there are 317,760 more black women who are not in the workforce than black men. I mean, I honestly don't know what else to say. The whole report, you guys can look it up for yourselves. It's a lot. It's very detailed. They tell you the reasons why. It has a lot to do with immigration. It's a lot that goes into it. So it's just not as easy as or as simple as she was like to paint it. She was trying to tell her audience full of black women that is just so many men out there that are lazy and they're not working. No, you have to break it down to explain. And like I said, when it gets to me, of course, I'm going to read everything thoroughly and I'm going to break it down so you can understand it. Y'all got to stop this, man. You're trying to get a one up by saying women out here making more money. No. God, dog. So yeah, so if you're going to, put out some statistics, man, just do the research for yourself. Read it and just don't go off of articles. Mikerowe, he was good. He's good. That's what he does. So he's actually looking out for men, if you guys didn't notice that, to let men know, giving them a heads up that there's so many skilled trade jobs out there. So we're trying our best to get those spots filled. Okay? So yeah, so that's all it is. It wasn't a shaming tactic that you should be trying to use against men. Just use it, look at the research. and stop trying to, make content or, get women on your side to, like an aha moment. I found that men aren't working. Nah, man, we supposed to be in this together, especially in the black community. So if it affect black men, it definitely affect black women, because black men out earn black women. And who you think gets hit the hardest the most, especially with all the college debt that black women have? Y'all need to be focused on that. I don't know if y'all seen all these videos of a bunch of women complaining about the student loans, collections being turned back on. It's rather unfortunate, because I know a lot of people, they were cool not paying, but now you got to pay. Are they talking about garnishing your funds?
So I called the student loans people yesterday, and I was like, ma'am, because I put me on deferment right now. I don't want no forbearance. No, because forbearance, if you didn't know, your interest continues to grow even though it's paused. No, deferment. Thank you. And the lady said, as of right now, your monthly payments are $1,554. I said, excuse me? No habla inglés. Huh? So then I said, this is a recorded line, right? She said, yes, ma'am, it is. I said, give me a second. Shh. I said, anybody who's on the other end, listen to me. I don't have it. That is rent. $1,554. I said, damn, they greedy, huh? They couldn't just make that 54 cents? Like, dollars? I said, that is rent. I don't have it. I don't have it. I will not have it. The lady said, yeah, this takes a couple of weeks. We already seen your application. It'll be applied. Okay. Thank you. 36 months? Thank you. I'll apply again in 3 years. Thank you.
It's a lot, man. So yeah, we got to start working together. So shout out to Mikerowe. Shout out to that young lady who tried her best, I guess, to stay on code. And, it got to me. And shout out to DJ D-Rex for tagging me in the video. So it gave us a chance to educate. All right. So thank y'all for listening.